In the bar of the Rosarita Beach Hotel, Madison and Trend are fighting off an infected herd. Madison hears Alicia calling her. She kills the infected and opens his belly. She is from the trend of covering herself with the blood of an infected person. Madison and Trend pass unnoticed among the infected. They leave the bar and barricade the door behind them. Outside, they discover that the truck is missing. Trend suggests that Alicia and Ophelia ran away together. Madison and Trend are sheltering in a building from under the center of the hotel. Madison tells Trend that Alicia would never leave them. Madison and Trend hear a loud bang. They follow the sound of a locked door and hear Alicia screaming for help from the other side. Madison smashes the lock with a fire extinguisher. Alicia, Elena and Hector run outside. In the colony, Nick visits Alejandra in the infirmary and offers to crush OxyContin tablets with powdered milk to increase the supply of drugs. He shows Alejandra how to grind an OxyContin tablet, mix it with powdered milk and get a new tablet. Back at the hotel, Madison suggests looking for Ophelia. Alicia says Ophelia has run away. They are assessing their meager reserves. Elena says that there is enough food in the main hotel to last for several months, but now everything is controlled by the guests of the wedding party. Madison and Trend are standing in front of the hotel and calling Oscar the groom. Oscar appears on the balcony and lets them in after they drop their weapons. Nika and Alejandro are cutting a new batch of OxyContin tablets. Nick recalls the bite scar on Alejandro's neck and is skeptical of Alejandro's claim that he survived the bite infection. Madison and Trend are dating Oscar and Eileen, the mother of the bride. Madison suggests that they join forces to make the hotel their home and protect it from the infected and enemies. Oscar agrees to help if they kick Elena out. Madison is protecting Elena. She killed my daughter, Eileen says with tears in her eyes. Madison tells Oscar that her group will remove all infected from the hotel with or without him. He gives them the keys to the hotel. After the meeting, Madison and Trent predict that it will be difficult for them to convince Eileen. Nick packs several bottles of diluted OxyContin to take with him to the next drug trafficking. Alejandra tells Nick that he was bitten when he tried to save a drug addict boy, whom the mafia mistook for an infected one. His wound then healed without incident, earning him a reputation for invulnerability. In the courtyard of Nick and Alejandro sees Luciana playing football with the children. Nick joins the game. Francisca arrives and tells Alejandro that they have found someone torn to pieces. They found him, Pablo. Luciana understands. Nika, Luciana leaves the colony to engage in drug trafficking. Luciana explains that Pablo was her brother. Nick hugs her while she cries. Hector, Alicia with Trent starts checking the hotel. Hector opens the door to the room, releasing the infected. Alicia stabs him in the head with a knife. Alicia and Hector drag the infected bodies from the hotel to the beach. The party guests begin to help. Alicia tells Madison that if they keep cleaning up the dead one room at a time, it will take weeks, maybe even several months, to clean up the entire hotel of the infected. Alicia discovers the tide under the pier and develops a new plan to clear the hotel of all infected in one fell swoop. Alejandro gives Nick a personal trailer. Nick humbly accepts the gift. Elena brings Madison, Alicia from Trent to the lobby that connects all three parts of the hotel. They are developing a plan to send all infected people to the lobby and to the pier. Outside the hotel, Alicia and Hector lure a herd of infected inside by turning on music on Alicia's phone. Meanwhile, Trent and Elena open all the doors to the hotel rooms, releasing the infected from the trap. When the infected are released, Madison taps on a metal bowl, using the sound to lead them into an adjacent foyer. She is joined by Trent, Elena, Alicia and Hector, who lead herds from different parts of the hotel. When the herds meet, Madison leads the combined pack of infected to the pier. On the beach, Alicia and Hector lower the Zodiac into the water, and the party guests watch what is happening from the shore. Meanwhile, Madison leads the herd to the end of the pier, then jumps into the water, where Alicia and Hector rescue her on the Zodiac. The herd follows Madison into the water, where they are swallowed up by the tide. Nick is learning Spanish in his trailer. Luciano visits him and asks Nick about his family. He tells her that he has lost his father and that we have all lost someone. Madison's group and party guests are feasting at a large dining table in the hotel. Noticing Oscar's absence, Trend asks Elena where the bridal suite is located. Trend finds Oscar guarding the bridal suite. Oscar admits that his inanimate fiancée Jessica is inside. Trend tells Oscar that the infected Jessica is no longer his wife. "Death has separated you," he says. "Let me help you." Luciana wakes up on Nick's bed and apologizes for falling asleep. She starts to leave, but Nick stops her. They kiss. Oscar finally gives Trend the key to his room. Trend enters the room and closes the door behind him. Francisco secretly leaves the colony with his wife Anna and their little daughter Laura. She tells their daughter that it is no longer safe in the colony. Mark notices Francis' family on the road in Tijuana. Francisca tries to hide, but it's useless. Mark demands OxyContin, which he was promised in the colony. Ophelia is going to a restaurant. Inside, she kills an infected person with a hammer and indulges in memories while sitting on a terrace overlooking the ocean. In the flashback, Ophelia has lunch with her boyfriend William at the same restaurant on the ocean. William proposes to Ophelia and asks her to move to Santa Fe, where he is going to get a new job. Ophelia hesitates to leave her parents in Los Angeles, but agrees to talk to her mother. Returning to the present, Ophelia studies the map, and then pumps gasoline out of the car. 10 days have passed at the Rosarita Beach Hotel since the arrival of the Madison Group. Teaming up with the wedding guests, the survivors work together to secure the hotel and create a shelter. They strengthen the entrance gates, lay out a new garden, fish from the pier and charge the generator. Alicia takes surfing lessons from Hector and talks to him about Nick. Hector says that his own brother is also lost to him after he got involved with a gang from Tijuana. Ronaldo enters Nick's trailer to inform Luciana that Francisca and his family have escaped from the colony. Ronaldo refuses to participate in the upcoming Oxy deal without Francisco. Nick calls himself and Luciana for an exchange so that the community has water. In Elena Madison's room with Trend, Alicia and Elena decide that the generator will only work a few hours a week, enough to make ice and boil water. Trend responds to a knock on the door. Or he stabs him with a knife. "You took my daughter away from me," she says and runs away. Madison treats the wound with a Trend in bed. Oscar brings Andrea, a medical college student. Andreas examines the wound from the Trend and says that he needs a suture kit, antibiotics and erythropoietin. Elena suggests a place where such medicines can be. Nika, Luciana, inform Alejandro that Francisco has left the colony. "Not thank you, not goodbye," says Alejandro bitterly. He asks Luciana to talk to the scouts in order to raise morale after Francisco's departure. Madison tells Oscar that Eileen has to stay locked up indefinitely. She also states that henceforth anyone who harms anyone else in the hotel will be expelled. Alejandro addresses his people in the church and urges them to keep faith in him and in the safety of their home. After that, he questions Luciana's loyalty for not talking to the scouts immediately. He forbids her to Nick, to engage in drug trafficking, despite Nick's fears that Marco will come for them if he does not get his oxy. Madison, Elena and Oscar get into a van to drive to El Pelicana, a supermarket run by drug dealers. On the way, Elena explains that Hector's brother, Antonio, lives with drug dealers. She says that Hector never forgave Anthony for preferring the gang to his family. In Nick's trailer, Luciana worries about Alejandro's mental state. Nick insists that they go into drug dealing anyway, but Luciana refuses to disobey Alejandro. Madison, Elena and Oscar arrive at El Pelican with a refrigerator. Elena tells the guards that she has something for Antonio. They let Madison and Elena in. Nick again persuades Alejandro to engage in drug trafficking. Alejandro refuses and accuses Nick of not believing in him. Madison and Elena give Antonio a refrigerator full of fish and ice, and ask in exchange for medicines for the Trend. Antonio asks if they can provide more ice. Elena agrees. Antonio asks them to wait. Meanwhile, they hear Mark's screams in the office upstairs. Upstairs, Mark interrogates his prisoners, Francis and Ioana, about the location of the colony. Francisca assures Mark that someone will deliver Oxy. Madison and Elena overhear Mark's interrogation. Madison asks Elena to translate for her and runs upstairs when Mark describes the rat-haired American who delivered the drugs to them. Desperate to get news about her son, Madison bursts into the office and demands to know the name of the short-haired boy. Francisca forbids Anya to answer. Mark orders them out. Antonia gives them medicine and tells them to stay away, saying that they won't stay in the supermarket for long. In the colony, Nick asks Reynold to help him in the drug trade. Reynalda agrees to accompany Nick that night. Luciana is talking to the scouts near Nick's trailer. She notices Nick's expression. He insists that everything is fine. At the hotel, Alicia covers Trend with a blanket and squeezes his wound. She explains that she helped Nick through detoxification and says that Madison still doesn't fully see her. Then do it, suggests with Trend. Nick surveys the neighborhood from the roof of the colony. Mark, who is sitting nearby, is watching Nick through binoculars. Ophelia is studying a map in her truck. She examines the rosary. In the flashback, Ophelia tells Griselda about their family. Griselda explains that she and Daniel left El Salvador to hide Ophelia from violence and bloodshed, and vows to do everything for Ophelia and Daniel. "This is love," she says. Ophelia takes her hand, preferring her family to William. In the present, Ophelia kisses a rosary and hangs it on the rearview mirror. She's heading towards the USA. Madison, Elena and Oscar return to the hotel after dark. Madison runs to the generator and turns it on, lighting up the hotel sign in the hope of signaling Nick. Alicia warns Madison that people will see the sign from all sides, and accuses Madison of thinking more about Nick than about herself, even though Nick decided to run away. Travis stands on the hills overlooking the Rosarita Beach Hotel and notices the neon sign of the hotel before it goes out. Travis sets off on foot towards the hotel.